Hello, everyone, and welcome to Train Station at 8. As always, we've saved you a seat. It's a new week. We have some new music to talk about, and we have a new guest here, too, so that's exciting. As usual, it's just me, Steven, hosting, along with Bryan, the old co-host.
I admire your humility.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we have to keep humble.
Yeah.
Or guests will abandon us and never come back on the show.
Sure, that's our motto.
It's true. It's true.
Whoa, who is that? I think it was Rich Vreeland, aka Disasterpeace, but I could be completely mistaken.
It was me.
Oh, good. Well, sure, Rich.
Can I come out now?
Yeah, absolutely. Come out of the closet.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Well, we're very happy to have you here, Rich. Thank you for joining us for this episode.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to be here.
So, hey, how about you give everyone listening a quick rundown of who you are in case they don't already know?
My name is Rich Vreeland. I write music under the name Disasterpeace. I have mostly been writing music for video games for the past decade or so. I scored the game Fez, which you may or may not know. And last year I scored my first feature film, which was called It Follows.
Nice.
Excellent.
Is it weird that, or do you ever get people who know you best from Catastrophe?
That has never, ever happened.
That's happened for the first time.
Wow.
I listened to that soundtrack probably more than any of your others.
That's so awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's like I love the theme for that game, and probably the second thing I know you for really well. I mean, I've heard of Fez, I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. So I know of you by name and that. But the other thing I really love is you worked on one of Jimmy Henson's songs for Imposter Nostalgia.
Oh, that's
I wrote a solo while I was at Disney World.
Yep.
Many years ago.
And that's
cool.
One of the second sources, and that was amazingly done. So,
well,
good
cool,
job, sir.
Thank you.
First time for everything. That's fantastic. Yeah, I have. You know who is also talks pretty highly of your music, Rich. The plug we always have to give is the Super Mercado Bros, who run another video game music podcast. Definitely check them out if you want to listen to some new video game music podcasts.
Yeah, I think I've crossed paths with the Super Mercado Brothers in one form or another, and I can't pinpoint what it was. We might have done a podcast together. You might have met them at MagFest.
I
might have met them at MagFest, although I've only been to MagFest once. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I definitely know that name.
Okay. Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. You know, and speaking of MagFest, did you go this year?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I went. It's been a few years now. Maybe 2012, I think I went.
Okay.
Yeah, and played a set there as Disasterpeace.
Very, very nice. Do you often play live as Disasterpeace, or is it mostly from the computer?
I have. There was a pretty good period of time where I was playing live. I would say like 7 years or so, from like 2007 to last year, where I was doing live stuff as Disasterpeace. And it's always been. It's never been like my focus, but it's always been something a little different to do. A good excuse to hang out and kind of share music and stuff. Yeah. So for a while it was guitar, and in the beginning it was just me playing guitar and backing tracks. And then at some point I met Roger Hicks, who goes by Rekadam, and he's a game developer and a really, really good drummer. And we started playing together, and we played for a couple of years together. And then last year I kind of gave up the guitar thing and started doing some live piano and vocal stuff. And now I'm sort of taking a break.
Oh, well, that's awesome. That's a lot of kind of versatility there. That's cool. And we've dropped into impromptu interview mode.
Just wait until.
Sorry about that. That's my fault.
No, I'm the one asking you questions. I'm glad you're answering them.
I'm just looking forward to when you come out of retirement playing solo bagpipes at all of the live shows. So
that'll be a good time.
Well, it's on the list. It's on the bucket list.
Exactly.
I'm writing it down right now.
Exactly. It's
And
right there
I
next to hurdy-gurdy. So
well, you might as well give up on the kazoo because I think Grant Kirkhope has that on lock.
Oh, really?
Brian, did you see the video that Grant put out of him playing kazoo and ukulele at the same time with sunglasses on?
no,
It was
amazing.
wonderful. Yeah. It was just, he was sitting, I don't know, if in his backyard or by a pool or something, and he said, I'm just going to play a little tune, and hopefully it'll get you to throw some money to Yooka-Laylee, the Kickstarter project. And then he just sat there going... And it was wonderful. It was really wonderful.
You got a link to that in the show notes. That sounds amazing.
I'm sure I will. Yes,
That's
I'm sure I will.
cool.
Well, speaking of stuff we've all been listening to, let's start with that, eh?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot what our first segment was going to be.
Oh yeah, I know. It's hard to remember. We've only done it like 55 times or something.
This format is new to me.
It's okay. So, are you trying to tell me that you haven't prepared a list of the stuff you've listened to, Brian?
I can remember the stuff I've been listening to. There's this nice little feature in iTunes that tells me what I've been listening to recently.
Oh, good thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, what I've been listening to. Well, Steven, I showed you a little bit today. I've been listening to more of the Witcher 2 soundtrack as I make my way through that game. That soundtrack continues to impress me. What did you think about the piece I showed you earlier today?
I loved it. It was like an acoustic guitar, very rhythmic. I felt sincere. It felt mysterious, and apparently, it was scored for a Dwarven town or something.
It's like a dusty mining town sort of thing.
I've never played The Witcher. I assume there are dwarves in it. I thought it was lovely and unexpected.
Yeah, the production values in the soundtrack are just phenomenal, and the creative direction. I find it just does a very different type of soundtrack than most Western RPGs go for. I think like BioWare games and a lot of the D&D type games kind of follow in the same tropes and patterns over time. So The Witcher is it's a breath of fresh air. So I'm enjoying the soundtrack a lot. As for something new, you got me into the Sonic Runners soundtrack.
Oh, boy, did I.
Which is, for people that don't know, the iOS game Sonic's Last Vestige currently in gaming.
It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a Sonic the Hedgehog, well, endless runner. It's kind of self-explanatory, I suppose. Yeah.
That does sound like the last vestige of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Pretty much at the end of the line, despite being an endless runner. But the soundtrack's amazing.
We are huge Sonic music fans, Rich. I'm sure that our entire audience is tired of it by now, but I'm not. I'm still looking for new soundtracks to listen to.
Yeah.
And so I did play the game. I thought that the game was okay. It was a little bit obnoxious, a little hard to stick with. But like you said, Brian, music, A-okay.
Yeah. I've honestly just been listening to that on loop for the past 2 days while working. It's so happy. Yeah, it's
I'm listening to it a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of Sonic Adventure. That upbeat, lots of guitars and stuff.
Yep, lots of guitar, merging it with some piano. It's very much the modern Sonic style these days, and I'm a fan of it. It's very melodic focused, very happy.
What I really oh, sorry to interrupt you. What I enjoy about the soundtrack is that it takes the sort of pretty melodies that you get on the piano that some more recent Sonic games have been doing.
Yeah.
Like Sonic Colors and Sonic Unleashed and whatnot. But it also takes that kind of punkish, popish electric guitar that was so, the series was so famed for back in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Right.
Sure.
It's just this perfect merging. And then they merge them. It doesn't feel haphazard. It's so graceful somehow. It's also memorable and catchy. I just love the soundtrack. I think it's one of the best Sonic soundtracks to come out in years. And that's saying a lot, considering it's coming from me. I'm not that hard to please when it comes to Sonic.
Yeah, I think compositionally I agree. The production values are a little rough, partially because there doesn't seem to be a great quality rip out there of it yet. But yeah.
Have you guys heard the story that Michael Jackson wrote music for Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, definitely.
Was that ever? I forget his name. Did you ever dig into
recently? I believe it was completely debunked.
Okay.
I think that they were going to, but then they wanted to just distance themselves because of all the scandal. But I think it was an interview with Howard Drawson that I heard recently, and he was saying, no, I never worked with Michael Jackson. I'm almost positive Sega never actually had him implemented.
What if he was paid to say that?
Maybe he was.
Well, what the Wikipedia is saying that he was brought in, but it was without the knowledge of the higher up people, and it didn't actually happen.
But nevertheless, you listen to some of the music in Sonic 3, and it is at the very least inspired by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, there's some similarities in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is just another like wonderful little stop upon the weird history that is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Actually, if you take Angel Island Act 1 and slow it down and play it backwards, it's just Beat It. Little note.
Oh, I believed you for 1 second. So what else, Brian?
I mean, like I said, that was on loop, so pretty much just that. I'm sure I've been listening to more Ace Combat. Oh yeah, I listened to all of Ace Combat X, which is the PSP game.
You're all running out of Ace Combat games.
I'm working on it. I'm getting through them. There are a lot of Ace Combat soundtracks, let me tell you. But yeah, X is way more like techno-y. I think probably the most interesting fact about it, it's a really good soundtrack, don't get me wrong, but the thing that like stuck out is that it has the melody for the theme song, Steven. You recognized it.
Mm-hmm. I did recognize it.
What is that melody like exactly?
It's a slowed down mellow version of the Avengers theme from the Avengers films.
Indeed it is.
It's uncanny. It's almost exactly the same. Just at the very end, it takes a different turn. Otherwise, it really has the same melody.
Yeah, it was pretty funny to hear. Little known fact composed by Michael Jackson. But yeah,
that's a pretty common thing. There's a lot of games that have melodies that are just, they are like mirror images of popular songs that kind of came out a little bit earlier. Like there's the I think it's Secret of the Forest from Chrono Trigger, that is almost note for note the same like chord progression and melody as JoJo by Boz Scaggs from the early 80s.
Oh wow. And you always have to wonder, a lot of the time it's just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
There are only so many orders you can put notes into before you start bumping into other songs. But you wonder, if these things are little homages that people are like, no one will ever pick up
the
on
interesting
this.
thing about Ace Combat X is it came out before Avengers, so I like to imagine the Avengers composer played a lot of Ace Combat on his PSP.
Sure. I'll buy that.
yeah. So
Because the PSP was such a widespread popular video game system.
exactly, and Ace Combat was so popular in 2006. It's just likely.
I think you're right. I think sometimes it's just coincidence because, like you said, there's just only so many combinations. But I think other times, there's a subconscious just channeling of something that you've heard, and whoops. Yeah. Like I just wrapped up an episode of Adventure Time, and in the final scene of the episode, I wrote this little melody, and I was like, oh, that's great, it's done. And then I went back like the next day to listen to it, and I was like, oh my god. I can't use this melody, and the melody was ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You could use it. You just might run into trouble.
Yeah, probably not the best idea. So it's funny how sometimes you do stuff and you don't even realize, and you're like, oh my god.
I know. You know what I'll sometimes do is I'll be humming a song, and then it will keep morphing into another song. And I'll say, no, that wasn't the one I was humming. We'll start over. And then I'll lose track of time, and then it goes back to the other song.
The worst thing is when, on top of that, it keeps going back to a Bon Jovi song. Then you're in
that's the worst.
Waters.
But that always makes me wish that I wrote music, because when that happens, I think to myself, well, surely this is prime for a mashup. Like, one example is the Super Smash Bros. Melee theme song always merges into the Dark World theme from A Link to the Past every time I'm humming it to myself.
I'm curious, where it does. Don't hum through the whole thing, but
okay, I won't be able to find it.
I want to hear it. I'm curious.
I don't know if I can remember the song, or the. You know what I'll do is I will look for both of those songs and I will play them and fade them into each other when I think they sound similar.
You're going to make us actually listen to the episode.
A, I can't quite remember what it is, and B, I can't hum anything on key.
It blew my mind when I realized the Super Smash Bros. Melee theme was the Bowser Road theme from Mario 64. I did not realize that.
It pretty much is.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. That one was probably an homage, given it was all Nintendo, but it's very similar.
Very, very possible.
So yeah, that's what I've been listening to. Lots of Ace Combat as usual. Sonic.
I like
and The Witcher.
Yeah, sort of not particularly surprising considering your track record, but that's good.
You want me to go into how I've been listening to Hearthstone music?
Nope. I want Rich to tell us what he's been listening to recently.
Well, I should preface a little bit by explaining how I've been listening to music for the last 6 months or so. I have a pretty substantial library of music, and I've been trying to cull it down and make it more manageable, because it's just...
I've been doing the same thing.
It's so overwhelming, man. Having 30,000 songs or whatever, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So I've been going through my alphabet. I have been going through my alphabet, but I've been going through my library alphabetically by album and listening to just whatever comes up next and making a really kind of simple value judgment whether I want to keep it or not. So
that's fun.
Yeah, it has been fun to just listen to random stuff every single day.
Right.
So today, actually, I was listening to the LA Noir soundtrack by Andrew Hale, which is a really well-done soundtrack that I like a lot.
I bet I would love that soundtrack.
I
have not played the game, but...
It is an excellent sort of hybrid of cinematic film music and jazz and noir. It's just really well done.
It's really cool.
A lot of memorable motifs, really beautiful chord progressions, really well produced. Some nice slick saxophone solos and whatnot. It's just a really...
Now you're really selling.
It's a really cool soundtrack.
So it made the cut It's staying on your hard drive.
It's staying on my hard drive. Actually, It's in the cloud. It's staying in my cloud.
Hey, have you ever heard the soundtrack to Gunpoint
I was
before?
just about to say that exact thing. That's really weird.
No, but I know the guys who made the soundtrack to Gunpoint.
Yeah.
It's if you like saxophone solos.
It was pretty.
The album art is a saxophone solo. That's what you're getting out of that soundtrack.
Yeah. Gunpoint had an interesting way of doing the music. If I remember correctly, the creator just put his game out there and said, "Hey, people, send me music, and I'll start putting your music in there." And it's just a very grassroots process.
His name is Tom Francis?
Yes.
Is that his name? Yeah, Tom Francis. He has a different way of doing things where he likes to be kind of the point man with the music. So he, like you said, he kind of sources it out to a competition almost. Yeah. And a bunch of people submit things and he just kind of picks and chooses his favorites. And a lot of times he's like used multiple composers for his projects.
Yep.
Like, I think they did that with Gunpoint, and his new game is also going to have that where, Exploration will have one composer, and then, when you're like, I don't know, when you're like this new game that he's doing with the spaceships, like when you're doing space exploration, it's one guy, and when you're in the spaceships doing stealth and combat or whatever, it'll be another composer.
I think Heat Signature is the name.
Heat Signature.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Gunpoint, so I'm very excited to see what he does next. And the soundtrack was a big part of why I liked that game. It was really well done.
Neat. Yeah. It's another game in Steam. I'll get to someday. I really will.
It's only like a couple hours, so there's you can do it.
Low time investment. Cool. Well, anything else of note, Rich? Or
this is not an official soundtrack, but there's this person who makes chiptune music, and we kind of
plug yourself. It's okay.
No, not me. But we kind of came up together. I've known this person for I don't know, probably since like 2007. So so a bit of a while. He goes by Zan-zan-zawa-veia. That's ZAN-ZAN-ZAWA-VEIA.
Okay.
And he released an album not too long ago. It's called Yak 001.
He has the best
That dude knows how to name things.
He's a good namer.
And so, what's the meat of that album? What's it about?
Yeah, so this album is it's kind of a reimagining of the Doom soundtrack. It's all MIDI files, just like the original Doom. But the style is just it's very much him, and it's very it's just very wild. It's a blast to listen to. It makes me want to go back and play Doom, which I never was super into Doom, but I think if this soundtrack was playing in the background, I would just have so much more fun. It's just such a weird soundtrack. It's heavy, kind of like how the Doom stuff was kind of like a lot of nods to like Metallica and stuff like that. I think they were like Black Sabbath like facsimiles and stuff on that soundtrack. So it has that sort of heavy quality where there's drums and distorted guitar, mind you, all General MIDI. But it's also has a lot of like odd meters and weird harmonic passages and just things that catch you off guard and are kind of wacky and fun. And
that's a pretty cool idea.
It's a really cool album, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I was listening to a little bit of it as you talked, and that description's spot on. It was really interesting stuff.
Sweet.
Very cool. I've never even played Doom before, so some of it might be lost on me, the translation at least, but still.
What I'm trying to figure out is why his tags for the album on Bandcamp are chiptune, electronic, MIDI, progressive, and Space Station in Egypt.
Space Station in Egypt?
Yes, he just tagged it with that.
You don't know the inspiration for Doom.
He used to tag all his albums with that, so I'm not quite sure.
Oh, okay.
I think that's his personal aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like if you ask him like, how would you describe your music? I think he might say
it's not for SEO, it's for personal growth.
Yeah. It's not for SEO. Because there are a lot of people who are Googling Space Station in Egypt every single day.
Of course.
With the internet, the modern internet we have,
I have
You never
really
know.
considered renaming Train Station 8 to Space Station in Egypt. Believe me.
But it would probably still get us better SEO than Train Station at 8. For being honest.
Probably.
Well, you know, April Fool's is coming up, so
Oh,
Just for a
good
day.
point. All right. So, what else? Anything else on your cloud that you'd like to bring to the table, Rick?
anything on my cloud. Well, this isn't on my cloud, but I have been playing a lot of Hearthstone the last couple weeks.
All right, you made your way into Brian's heart.
quite easily my favorite game right now. And Peter McConnell is, in my opinion, one of the best composers working in video games.
A genius.
He's just really good. He's really good at working with live instruments. He's really good at arranging. His music is just a joy to listen to. So, I really like the music that he wrote for Hearthstone. I think the amount of time that I'm playing the game though is like, it's way more than any piece of music could really handle.
Yeah.
Like Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim, that game has like a 4 CD soundtrack.
Yep.
And to me, it didn't feel like enough music for that game because, you know, you can play that game for like 200 hours.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's only like, you know, that's like, I don't know, like 4
It's a
4
fraction
hours
of
of
that.
music. Yeah. It's a fraction. So,
And every time you walk into a city, you kind of hear the same type of music, and it worked. But you're right. If you play the game to death, you're going to run into problems.
Yeah, Hearthstone reminds me of Elder Scrolls music in that it just fits the tone perfectly. Like, the music he composed for it is as good as it can be. But that said, I do play it so regularly and for so long that sometimes, like, if there's other music I'm really wanting to catch up on, or I need to get through some albums for the podcast or something like that, I will listen to other stuff while playing Hearthstone just because I have heard all that stuff repeatedly so many times.
I've caught myself humming a lot of the little things in the Hearthstone music, and I'm like, man, it's really time to mute the soundtrack. No offense to Peter McConnell. But like you said, I would say that Peter McConnell is a master at tone. Like his ability to nail the tone is just, it's unparalleled. Like he's in my opinion, he's probably the best at it in game soundtracks. Like everything he's done, like Grim Fandango is amazing. The tone is amazing in that project. Monkey Island. Like everything he does, Psychonauts, like he's a master. So
I agree completely.
No arguments whatsoever. I'll back you.
It's like that. Pretty much every time a Hearthstone expansion comes out, the new song is one of the things
Yes.
I forward to most. It's like, yes, new piece of music. Fantastic.
All right. So I guess the last question is, what have I been listening to? And I too have been in the Sonic Runners loop.
Okay,
Brian. In fact, I just realized I was humming it in my head right now.
I am as well.
Oh, it's so good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You're going to break out into song.
No, like I said, I can't hum on key. But before I got here, well, you're familiar with the hero's journey, right? It's that
Joseph Campbell?
Joseph Campbell's hero's journey.
Oh, yeah.
Where you know, before there are a set amount of steps to go through an epic story or an epic, I guess, period of growth for someone.
Yeah.
And before you can reach the pinnacle of it, you have to go through the darkness. So before I listened to Sonic Runners, I bit the bullet, no pun intended, and listened to Shadow the Hedgehog's soundtrack. I have been avoiding this for a long time, but I have to listen to all of the Sonic and Sega soundtracks. Like, alright, that's my thing.
I love how you're equating your journey through the Sonic canon of music to a hero's journey. That's amazing.
Climbing Mountain Dew.
Well, life is an epic, Rich. Embrace it. But Shadow the Hedgehog, I would not call an epic soundtrack. It actually is quite middling. And its biggest problem is that it takes some very talented musicians, specifically Jun Senoue.
I feel like you pronounce his name differently every episode.
I've stuck with Senoue. Okay. I don't know if that's just right. Maybe it's Senoue. Maybe it's... I don't know. Anyway, I love his guitar work so much. Some of my favorite music ever. But for Shadow the Hedgehog, it gets really muddy and unpleasant and repetitive. There are a few bright spots. But everyone involved in that project was so obsessed with that very forced adolescent grimy edge that the game had that it just bleeds right into the music. And so I'm having a hard time getting through it. And so I kind of gave up on it and said, let me give Sonic Runners a shot. Yeah. And then just the sky opened up and sunshine.
Never turned back.
Yeah. No,
yeah, I mean, I just listened to a little bit of it, and it's a pretty stark contrast, I would say, between this. It's very shadowy.
Yeah.
And Sonic Runners is very sunny and very blue.
Yeah. Sure. And that, that's kind of the difference between those two characters. So good on them for nailing the style. I'll give them that.
Yeah, it's like Peter McConnell.
But sometimes you just don't want to live in a world that's like shadowy all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Alan Wake is a shadowy world, for example, and I want to live in that world. That's a beautiful soundtrack.
I'm gonna get murdered.
Not literally.
A flying car. It's gonna be terrible.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, I think not every game and not every piece of media has to make you feel happy, and I think sometimes it creates a tone it's really effective at what it's trying to capture, but emotionally it might not be what the listener or the player wants to experience because it's just just not where they are. And I mean, I have that. I certainly have that experience when watching certain films and stuff where it's just evoking a certain sort of tonality that is just it's not what I want to experience at that moment. I'd rather be on the beach or something. So.
But you're nonetheless glad that you heard it. Is that what you're getting at? Like
sometimes,
it hurts?
Sometimes I'm appreciative of it anyway. Other times I'm too not in that headspace, and I just can't really.
Okay, like a song is a time and a place, but that's not necessarily every time and every place. So especially darker stuff.
Well, what soundtrack does have it is the correct place for every time. It's the Grandia soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this a couple of episodes ago. Grandia is a wonderful, wonderful soundtrack. I've just been kind of listening to it in the background when I'm writing stuff. And it just puts you in a good mood. Yeah. Just every time. So unique, so weird. So, I don't know. It's a special soundtrack to me.
Yeah, it sounds like Japanese RPG orchestral disco.
Yes.
Yep. There you go. Something you'd get from the 70s.
Rich is on fire with explanations today. Like he is just nailing the tone.
Well, there's like this one town theme or something that's just it's a kind of your expected melody, but you got the disco.
Of the 70s. It's so sunny.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely stuff.
It's really cool.
Well, I just stumbled upon it one day when I was looking something up, maybe for Train Station at 8 or something, and I found the theme on YouTube. And I think I tweeted in all caps, "Listen to this music, everyone! Listen to this now."
That's like a tweet.
Yeah, it left an impression on me.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to mention before we move on is the most recent Super Mercado Bros. Podcast episode was about Game Boy soundtracks that you might not have heard before. Wherein Carl listened through dozens of Game Boy soundtracks and selected his very favorite Underdog songs that he found.
Cool.
And it reminded me of why I love the Game Boy system so much, not just for the games, but honestly, I think that's my favorite chiptune sound. It's so pure, it's so easy to make melodic, I guess. I was kind of expecting, this is going to be hit or miss, right? You never, I love chiptune soundtracks. I love old school soundtracks as well. But honestly, I get kind of tired of them if I hear a bunch in a row, especially if they're, from games that I'm not familiar with or that I don't have nostalgia for.
Yeah.
But that was not the case, nice. My friend. Every song he played was super catchy and interesting. I just loved that episode.
What episode is that?
I think it's the most recent one, I think, from Super Mercado Bros. I think it's called Game Boy Soundtracks you might not have heard.
Oh, well, that's easy to find.
Yeah. I'm not 100%.
Cool, yeah, I'll check this out.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say that I remember how I know these guys. I played I played a show with them in St. Paul last year.
Was that
wow,
Gamers
that's
Rhapsody that you were?
Yeah, at Gamers Rhapsody. Yeah.
Yep.
We had a... Oh, no, did I forget his name again?
Yeah, you did.
I forget his name every time. The dude who put that thing together. We had him on the show.
Gamers Rhapsody guy. His name is...
We're all horrible.
Thomas.
Yes, Thomas Fargo.
Thomas Fargo.
Thank you.
From Fargo.
He's been on the show and we can't... That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We've had a lot of guests.
And I remembered something as well. I have been listening to the Pulsar Arena soundtrack, which was done by Jake Kaufman. So we have now mentioned Marcato Bros, Jake Kaufman, and Grant Kirkhope.
The three people we mentioned on there.
Trifecta.
So a few songs in, and it's amazing.
Well,
yeah,
Jake
it's
is
splendid.
amazing, so...
Yeah, so all I know is that this game is for the Oculus Rift or VR of some sort. That's cool, but the music's amazing. Jake did another style incredibly well, so congrats to him. It's like a very heavy electronic. I wouldn't quite call it dubstep, but
his style is just—it's so unique. It's so him. Like you can tell right away that it's one of his projects.
It's so much fun.
I bought the original Shantae on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you enjoyed that.
That's a Game Boy game. Speaking of which,
yep.
It's that game. It's a side scroller by WayForward where you play as the pirate, and not the pirate. I'm sorry, the pirate is the villain. You play as she's a genie. There you go, Shantae the half genie. I like the game. It's a bit on the Zelda 2 side of making you trek around between towns a little too often. But I forgot that Jake Kaufman did the soundtrack, and I started listening to it, and I'm like, this is rad. Really kind of Jake Kaufman melodies going on here.
Yeah.
And then I had that moment of grab my phone, original composer of Shantae, aha!
Oh, wait, back on the original Game Boy?
Back on the original Game Boy, yeah.
Composing back then.
Oh, yes.
Dude, Jake Kaufman has been doing game soundtracks since, like, the mid-90s.
Jeez.
Maybe longer. Like, since he was really young. He's crazy. He's super prolific.
He didn't just appear one day in a flash of Mighty Switch Force and then he was popular. Like, he put the time in.
He worked in the portable, in the handheld gaming trenches for many, many years.
Wow.
He's scored quite a few handheld games, like dozens, I would say, probably.
Which very much explains why he's so comfortable with that sound, like with Shovel Knight and whatnot.
He's been there.
And his website is vert.rocks, which is probably the best domain name I've ever seen.
That's amazing.
That is fantastic.
I completely forgot that.
Although mine is disaster.pizza, and I think that's pretty good.
You give him a run for his money, sir. That's amazing.
I like it. I really like that. We need to get creative with our URL, Brian. Get on that.
Whales are .whales.
That's pretty good.
I'd go with that. Let's see if it's available.
If you can find if there's a .train or a .station, you could you could screw around with your name a little bit.
True, but we host Train Station 8 on Whales or Whales, which is our network of podcasts.
Oh, okay.
So we don't actually have a website for Train Station alone.
You could do whales are wal.es. Which is a Spanish domain name, but they're available. I have an ES domain name, or I did, and I didn't use it. It was Disasterpeace.
At the very least, we need to make sure that route.
Yeah, I was about to say, at the very least, I want to have that redirect so I can give it out to people. Put it on my business card. Oh man,
that's wonderful.
It looks good. It looks good on paper, but it's really hard to explain to people.
Yeah, when you have to actually tell people what your website
Probably not
is.
Good for podcasts.
The novelty starts to wear off. It's easy to say pizza though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It is easy. Although yesterday I was explaining how to find my music online and giving them the spiel, and I had told them that I go by Disasterpeace, but my website is disaster.pizza, and they're like, that's confusing.
A little bit.
I probably should have not told them the name that I use and just said, just go to disaster.pizza and listen to my music.
Yeah. Or just change your name to Disaster Pizza. I mean...
it doesn't quite have the symmetry you're looking for, but
I don't know if that's gonna happen. That would be maybe on April Fools or something.
Yeah,
since we're talking about April Fools.
Well, if you ever decide to, let us know so we can scoop the news story.
Exclusive.
Ooh, good transition.
Speaking of, let's go over some news from the city.
All right.
I only have a couple of things here.
All right. I'm excited about both of them. I don't even know what they are.
Okay. Well, surprise, surprise. The first one is a new album that is coming out. Actually, I'm going to link it to you guys in Skype in case you want to look at it. It's a tribute to our old friend Super Mario.
I thought the URL was The Onion. I was going to say Stephen Bad News.
No, I got the news from the Ongaku, I suppose is how to pronounce that news site. And it's actually a very neat little album from what I've heard so far. It was put together by, what's his name? It's a handle that is escaping me. See, we're the worst with names.
There are a lot. I don't know which one you're going to be going for.
Yeah, Commandy Can. Okay. That's it. Commandy Can. And Coda did a song on the album as well. Nice. For those familiar, I'm a huge Coda fan. Speaking of Vert or Jake Kaufman, I actually think that Coda has the closest style to Jake Kaufman. If I was to say someone tried to imitate that dude, I would get Coda to do it.
Have you heard Shnabubala?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, because he does a dead-on Jake Kaufman. There's a track, I can't remember which one, but there's a track where he straight up does Jake Kaufman. It's like... Yeah,
okay, you're right. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of those space. Also, he did some remixes on the Mighty Switch 4 soundtracks.
Right.
So just rad.
Right on. This artwork is great, too. I like it.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. So it's called Mario Sound Test, if I didn't say that already. It's just a neat little soundtrack that I stumbled upon. I really enjoyed it. It is a bunch of Mario arrangements. Okay. I've liked all of the ones I've heard so far. I mean, I'm honestly not familiar with most of the artists, so maybe it'll be a good way to find some new people to listen to.
I'm gonna have to listen to this.
It's quite good so far. I like it. And my other little piece of news, if you even count this as news, is the Splatoon soundtrack is awesome.
Oh, cool.
You probably should have done that in like what you've been listening to, but...
Well, I know, but I wanted to make it a bit of news. Like, I actually wanted to play a little bit of it for you guys right here.
Go for it.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Now, listen for the banjo. I think it's just brilliant. I'm just way into this almost Naganuma style madness that is just like sampling randomness and turning it into art.
Orchestra hits are my favorite part.
Yeah. And so, partially because of this and partially because of a Best Buy gift certificate, I went out and purchased that game today. It's here in the shrink wrap. I wish I could play it tonight, but I probably won't have time. I'll be editing this podcast. But I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware.
That's amazing.
That is just crazy.
Yeah, I like it a
samples.
Lot. I know the soundtrack is by Toru Minegishi, I think, and I don't remember who the other guy is, but
Michael Jackson.
It's really neat stuff. I'm just really happy to see a brand new Nintendo, franchise and a new style to go along with it. So,
it's pretty cool.
More updates on that in the future. Once I play this tier game.
All right.
I didn't realize that Naganuma did a bunch of Jet Set Radio stuff. I love Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, Naganuma has been all over Twitter talking about Splatoon for like a month.
I think he's trying to get hired.
I think he is. He just loves that.
You're a really good
fit. Yeah. But that's all the news I had. Pretty light this week.
Right.
Didn't find a bunch of new stuff, but at least that means we can move on to the Train Your Brain segment a little quicker.
Train Your Brain!
Oh, good. We've been needing an intro for that.
Just put some echo on that in your set.
Yeah. Reverb saves everything. So Train Your Brain is a little quiz show we put together every week. We don't actually make ourselves go through it. We force our guests to do so.
Hooray!
And Bryan gives them moral support.
You can do it! You can do it!
Oh, thanks, Bryan. I appreciate that.
So, Rich, the one I put together for you is actually
custom tailored.
It's good that we. Oh yeah, man. I do heavy research on our guests.
Oh my god!
Stalk their Twitter accounts. I'm
this is
joking
a song
about
you
that
played
part.
at your wedding.
I got married? How did you know? I didn't even know
From your
that.
but it actually has to do with, I guess, Game Boy and other chiptunes. Now that we mention it,
Gosh,
I have 6 songs here, and half of them were original songs from back in the day on some chiptune-esque console, and half of them are approximations or people trying to sound like old style music. And so it's going to be your job to identify which is which. I don't know if this is going to be easy or hard. So
well, hold on a second. Are all 6 tracks written with native playback? Like, or
I cannot tell you how they did it. I just know that they're going for a specific style.
all right. Okay.
And I can so
you might be able
here's
to spot discrepancies in terms of just.
yeah, you might be able to. Maybe you'll teach us a thing or two. So yeah, hopefully this will make a little more sense once we go on with it. For example, the first one I have here is an NES song, but is it someone trying to sound like the NES, or is it actually from the NES? So that's the question you have to answer. If you can identify the game and or the composer, you get bonus points.
Ooh.
Not that we keep score, but just pretend.
Okay.
I'll keep score.
So
Wish me luck.
okay. Oh, and I should mention that for 2 of these songs, you can ask Bryan's opinion, and he will do his very best to
Yeah, I
help
don't
you
know the
guess.
answer.
Because I put this together myself,
Lifeline.
so he's your little lifeline. Yeah. So if you're unsure, maybe he can help save the
Okay.
day.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sorry, that was my
Oh,
first
awesome.
song.
We
Whose line is it?
we have $1 million, so if you can do it.
Oh yeah, and you'll get $1 million. Okay. Anyway, I didn't think that was important. Okay. Song number 1. Let's go for it.
Oh,
Really
fuck.
good.
So do you think that's NES or fake NES?
Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of exposition, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Okay.
It sounds like if it is NES, it sounds like an expansion chip, like a VRC 7 or VRC 6. Like it could be like a Castlevania or something.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something Vert wrote.
I thought too, like Castlevania Bloodlines, the 8-bit version or whatever.
Yeah, he did a soundtrack, an NES soundtrack using VRC 7 or 6 that sounds a lot like that. I think it was Blood Rain.
Sorry, it was Blood Rain. I was thinking of something else. You're correct.
Okay. Can I listen to it again?
Yes, you may.
I'm gonna guess that I don't know if it's from an actual game or not, but I'm gonna guess that it is an NSF file. Like it's like something that you could play on an NES console.
Okay, so we're going to count that as NES or fake NES. That's
By
that's
NES
kind of
or
a bad
fake
way to
NES,
put
are
it.
you going by like if it was exposed?
Like, is this from an actual NES game or someone trying to create an NES soundtrack in the modern day?
Oh, that's
yeah.
the criteria. Okay. I have no idea.
No idea.
I'm gonna guess that it's from a real NES game.
Okay, you are unfortunately
I
incorrect.
thought so.
Which is tearing me up inside because it's totally the Blood Rain
Oh my god.
soundtrack.
Could at least have like a ding 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 or something when like I say the keyword.
Oh, nice. That's
I have to do the stoic game show host
evil.
face until you
I
make your
knew
final
once
answer.
you brought that up that was it because I know Steven knows that soundtrack and it's a great
Yeah.
one.
So I mean, you got it right, but you ended wrong.
Yeah.
So I probably get a half point.
Yeah.
I accept.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, 0.5.
Song number 2. Is this from the Game Boy, or is this from a more modern composer attempting to put together a soundtrack in the style of the Game Boy?
Man, that is an adorable piece of music. It reminds me of Kirby.
Yeah, me too.
I'm okay. What do you think?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is an actual old like Kirby or Kirby-esque soundtrack.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
That's my gut.
Final answer.
Final answer, Kirby. You are correct as can be.
Woohoo!
This is from
Dreamland 2?
Kirby's Dreamland. Yeah,
That's
good job,
That's
man.
awesome.
Played it. I just didn't recognize it.
I haven't played it either. The style. It's so there's so much like so groovy, like staccato and happy and funky. I just love that. I love that music. It's so great.
Oh, I 100% agree. We've had a Kirby episode in the past. I played through almost every mainline Kirby game. But if you didn't think it was adorable enough, it's the theme for Rick the Hamster.
Oh,
so
Rick the Hamster.
So, yeah, he's the giant hamster you get to ride around on. So the cuteness overload has officially reached maximum capacity. All right, so you got that one.
1.5. All right, on a roll.
All right, next one up.
Oh, come on!
I needed to give you some of them, right?
This is easy, man. This is one of my favorite.
This is actual NES.
It's like my favorite game soundtrack of all time.
What is this? Like
well,
or something?
I was worried that the others would be too obscure, so I wanted to give you a bit of okay, so get all the bonus points you can. Rack this for everything it's worth.
All right. Yasunori Mitsuda, Chrono Cross, PlayStation.
You are actually I'm double checking my facts. Super right.
You scare me for a second.
Yeah, I didn't know it, so I'm like, it's got to be Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger.
I really don't know anything about the Chrono game.
Yes, I missed out on it.
I barely played Chrono Trigger, so.
Well, the music is excellent.
I need to go back.
Oh, I know that. I have heard snippets of it before, and I was doing some research for that one, and I just listened to this whole song like 3 times. It's unbelievably beautiful.
Yep. All right, 2.5.
Woohoo! All right, good job. Okay, next up, is this from the Game Boy Advance?
Hold on. Where are my bonus points?
Oh,
whoa!
Okay,
ding, 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 ding.
3.0. Okay,
we're up to 3 points out of 3 possible points, so we're doing good.
Yes.
Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah, we're on the Game Boy Advance, or someone trying to imitate it.
No. Advance Wars?
You're pretty smart, Rich.
Wow.
It's totally Advance Wars.
All right. Well, that's my final answer.
Yeah. Are you sure you want to go with that now? I didn't recognize that. I only played Advance Wars DS. So that was awesome sounding.
Yeah. The main reason I went with this one is I have a soft spot for the Game Boy Advance attempting to replicate electric guitars.
Yeah. You know, I think you kind of sold yourself out there. How many people have tried to imitate the Game Boy Advance over time? It doesn't seem like...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, it is true, like because the Game Boy Advance is, because the sound chip is, it's, everything is sample based, you can get some pretty good sounds out of it.
Yeah. It all has that, it's like just rough enough. Like you can tell what it is, but it has that charming video game filter on it.
Yeah, it has the aesthetic quality that not a lot of other systems have, and it comes from the bit depth of the audio or lack thereof. It's like it's like 8-bit bit depth or whatever, and so it kind of has that crumbly sort of digital, like distorted sort of quality to it.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right. Well, we're almost done with this. Let's see. How many do we have left? We have, 1 left. Okay. Well, here's your final question. Is this song from the TurboGrafx 16?
Oh, God.
Or is it someone attempting to replicate it?
I know that song, but I don't know where I know it from.
Oh, good. Sorry, it's not that I'm rooting against you.
All those days playing the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, never. Where's that song from?
I had no idea.
Well, it sounds like a game soundtrack to me. I'm gonna guess that it's from a game soundtrack.
Meaning an original
TurboGrafx game. That's
there haven't been enough mimics yet, so he's got to throw one in here.
I'm sure there's a huge scene for that, or there at least very least.
No, I just mean you've only had like one mimic, in the quiz so far.
Oh,
so I'm just playing
you're
metagame at this point, saying that like you're probably throwing another one in here.
But yeah, this is actually from Flashy Goodness.
Oh,
This is the Tower of Heaven soundtrack.
oh my God, you got me.
Yeah.
Oh, got you, but good.
Yeah, you got me because I don't really know what the
TurboGrafx
TurboGrafx 16 sounds like. So if you're like, oh, this is NES, I'd be like, no, it's not.
yeah, you had to find those. See, I was trying to find some obscure middle grounds that would throw you off. But,
Yeah.
Speaking of Flashy Goodness,
But it is a game soundtrack, right? Or is it an original album?
no, it's Super is a game soundtrack. So you're right about that. It's just not on the TurboGrafx.
Engage.
Yeah. So Brian, what's the total score?
He totaled out at 5 points out of 6, so that's pretty awesome. Well done, Rich.
Yeah, that's really good.
You get
That's
5/6 of $1 million.
That's an 83. That's like a B minus.
Yeah,
This
not bad.
Hey,
there's
B
room for
minus is pretty
improvement.
Yeah.
well, I'm just sitting here thinking I should have made them harder because some of them you're like, I don't need to tell you like what system that is from. I can tell you the game and the composer. Like, that happened a couple of times. Well, congratulations, Rich. You won the game. That's good. And I realized that because I was so eager to get onto news from the city, we breezed past the open
I was
question.
wondering about that.
Yeah,
Like, I guess we removed it.
Well, remember how perfect the transition was from what have you been listening to, and then news from the city? So I just skipped it. So if we're good on time, what about spending a few minutes talking about that?
Yeah, what is the question again? I don't remember.
The question is, do you play certain songs, albums, and artists to fit certain moods? And
We touched on this earlier.
We did a little bit. So maybe we should finish out by just naming some, some key points if we do that. What about you, Brian? Or is this a phenomenon that ever happens to you, or you just hit shuffle every day? Every day you're shuffling. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Every day I'm shuffling. Sorry.
I just listened to the Sonic Shuffle album for everything. So, that's a good question that I'm going to think on. Do you have an answer for this?
I think I do. In fact, I have fairly recently put together a playlist exclusively for morning time.
Oh, wow.
So when I get up and when I'm waking up and when I have coffee, I have a soundtrack that cycles through songs or albums that I find to be either relaxing or inspirational or just good for that time of meditative state.
Sure.
So what are some of the songs I have? Let's see here. I have some of the songs from the Zelda reorchestrated Twilight Princess album, such as Lake Hylia, which I think is a really good one. I have some music, lots of music from Elder Scrolls. I have some Mists of Pandaria stuff, which is just super duper relaxing.
And now that you mention it, I do have a playlist I play often for going to sleep. So there you go.
Is Prescription for Sleep on the playlist?
It is.
I should hope so.
You got some Thomas is Alone. You got some what's it called? Dust Force soundtrack.
Oh, that's great. That's on my relaxing morning.
Yeah,
playlist.
there you go. Lots of Jeremy Soule, Elder Scrolls stuff. So yeah, I guess in that respect, I do that for sure.
That's cool. Anything like this for you, Rich?
Not really.
No?
I'm every day I'm shuffling, so
Yeah.
that's kind of my thing these days. You know, there's so much music, and I'm kind of addicted to new things. So I'm always listening to stuff that I either, I will re-listen to stuff, absolutely, but because of this thing that I've been doing with my iTunes library where I've been going through it, I've been hearing lots of new stuff that I haven't heard before, or very, very infrequently. And people are always recommending stuff to me, so I'm always, checking that stuff out too. So I like the kind of unpredictability of shuffle, and you never know what's going to come next. Sometimes I find that influences my mood in really unexpected ways, and I kind of like that. I feel like it's a learning process as opposed to like using it more to lull myself into some kind of I don't know, bliss.
Some sort of mood or state that you weren't already in.
Yeah. Instead of like using it to like salve the wound or whatever, just kind of using it as like a Russian roulette or something.
Yeah, keep moving, see what comes up next. Shuffle is kind of my go-to basic. Like, I have a playlist of 4 stars or higher for my iTunes library because I obsessively rate all of my music. So if I just want to listen to some really strong music that I know I'm going to like, with hundreds of things to choose from, that's actually what I go with.
Yeah, probably what I do most often is I really like to listen to most music, especially more traditional music, like not game soundtracks, in like the whole soundtrack, or the whole album, I should say. Because I find often artists like try to create a cohesive piece with their album, and I like to kind of hear that whole thing in its continuity. So a lot of the times I'll be putting on a specific album, so I'll take into consideration certain factors, like if I'm going to be driving, this is a good kind of album to listen to while driving, or this is a better album to listen to while working. But it'll just be kind of like small kind of decision factors, like just the type of music I'm listening to, and not so much like this is the exact mood I want to set for myself, so I'm going to listen to this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, I've done some of that too. Like there was an album that came out not too long ago by, the actor who plays the Big Lebowski. He did he did an album for sleeping. And it's this really strange album. It's very ambient, and he kind of like narrates it in this whispery voice. And it's kind of like having a dream.
Yep.
And I took a nap to it, and it was just one of the weirdest experiences. It was totally disorienting to listen to it. But it was it was satisfying in a strange way.
Yeah. That's really neat. I like it when that happens. I actually had an experience like that. I fell asleep in the car. I wasn't driving. To Origins from Jillian Aversa. And that was trippy. Like, I just woke up and fell back asleep to that soundtrack over and over again.
I had a really weird experience this very morning. I was having a dream where I can't remember the exact specifics of it now, but there was this song playing, like from my computer or something, and I couldn't get it to stop. And it was annoying me in the dream. I was like trying to control it to leave the program and get out of it, and just the song wouldn't stop. Turns out it was my little alarm ditty from my phone across the room.
That's amazing.
And it was literally creating a narrative in my dream that I would not wake up from for a very long time.
I love when that happens. That happens to me all the time.
Oh, that had been a first for me. It was really getting under my skin in the dream. Oh my gosh.
That's pretty good.
Sometimes I'll fall asleep to music on the plane.
Yeah.
And there's something really funny about especially like instrumental music. I'd fall asleep to instrumental music on the plane, and then I'd have a dream where the dream was creating this very like specific narrative that was, it's taking like the data, like taking the notes and the harmony and production of the music and like weaving that into this elaborate story. There's just something so strange and satisfying about that, because it's like it's like a universal translator, it's like taking this, this form that it has always been, or at least instrumentally, it can be very sort of abstract, and like giving it concrete definition.
Yeah.
It's just kind of have some really fun like dreams that way.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll take it as a compliment that I think a lot of your music is like that. Like, it's like really like narrative focused, it seems, from the outside. And it has that, like, I could imagine taking a nap to like Rise of the Obsidian or something.
Really? That album's pretty heavy.
It is. There's just something about something about the melodies and I don't know. It's hard to describe, man, but it's
it makes me think of the Floor's Jelly soundtrack, because recently I saw it on YouTube and there were comments and stuff, and people were saying, "Oh, I love the music. I use it to go to sleep," and then someone else put, "I was about to fall asleep to the soundtrack once, and then the music got all loud and intense, and it woke me up really bad." Because it's like it's really chill for like most of it, and then it gets really, really creepy.
Yep. That happens when I'm trying to listen to soundtracks, and it can be a rude awakening for sure. Like, don't go to sleep to the Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack. Probably not the best.
No.
Well, no, certainly not.
Not a good idea.
What might be a better idea, though, is probably wrapping up this podcast.
Alrighty.
Because we've all got places to be and things to do, even though we had quite a lovely chat. So, Rich, thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. It was very fun.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me. It was fun to shoot the breeze.
Yeah, of course. So, let's see here. You should probably go to whalesandwhales.com.
Yeah.
That was me scrolling down my notes. If you want to find more Train Station at 8 stuff, we're on whalesandwhales.com.
Yeah.
We're also on iTunes. We've gotten a few reviews so far, which have been delightful. So we would super duper appreciate, maybe even uber super duper appreciate any reviews you'd like to leave for us there.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely helps us out, and it's fun to read them as well.
Sure,
and also...
That guest you had on was the best.
Oh, you're talking to the audience. You're not talking to me right now.
Yeah, that would be no, we're not that upfront. Right now we're addressing the audience.
I love that idea that we give all these plugs to our guests every week.
Yeah, please.
Right, I changed my mind.
Please go out.
I'm not going to leave a review anymore. I changed.
Good. Yeah, that would put our morality into question. If you want to leave a review, if you like the show, feel free to leave a review. That would be great. Otherwise, you can also hit us up on Twitter. We like talking to people there. It's fun. Am I missing anything, Brian? Is that pretty much it for our plugs?
For me, you can find me on Twitter at Lord Meldor. That is LordMeldorr. And also, check out Hearthaholics, which is a Hearthstone podcast I run with some friends of mine. Where every week we talk about Hearthstone and how we can get better at it and other different strategic everyman topics in the world of Hearthstone. So, you can check us out at whalesandwhales.com and we'll be right up there on the front page. It's going really well so far. Great reception to it, and I'm very happy with our output, so I'm looking forward to doing more of that. That's awesome. I'm kind of an adrift Hearthstone fan. I love the game, but I just haven't put the time into it. You guys put a pretty good show together.
Thank you.
I like it.
I mean, I get lost every once in a while because I don't know what any of the new cards are.
If nothing else, if you don't want to hear us talking about it for an hour every week, just look up for the theme song that Andres, one of my co-hosts, made for it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a rock electronic remix of the Hearthstone theme, and he did a fantastic job on it. So
Sweet.
Yeah, Hearthaholics is the newest show on whalesandwhales.com, and just doing really well so far. And I have nothing to do with it, so hopefully that doesn't have any correlation. So, Rich, what do you have going on? Anything you'd like to plug to the world?
Sure.
Or at least the small subsect of the world listening?
Sure. Sure. Right now I'm working on Mini Metro, which is on Steam Early Access. It's a game about managing a train system. You build subways and try to get passengers from A to B, and it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty zenned out. And there will be a really unusual procedural music system in the game very shortly, so stay tuned for that.
That's great. I will stay tuned for that.
Right on.
Great. Well, then I guess that wraps up our show, folks.
Yep.
Unless you had anything else, Rich, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, sure. My Twitter is Disasterpeace, and all of my music is available on my website, which is disaster.pizza. So don't forget that. And have a most excellent day.
All right, that's good. That's good advice for everyone at any point in their lives. Have a most excellent day, everyone, and
have the most excellent day, which means every day after this day will not be as excellent.
Yeah, you're always going to look back on this day with longing.
Well, this got depressing all of a sudden. We'll be here next week, folks. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.